Okay, let's say we have a graph and we're given 2 points, one of them being the y-intercept. How do we determine the equation of this straight line? To write the equation of a straight line, we want to write it in the form y is equal to mx plus c. So we're trying to write our equations in this form. Let's look at the first example. The first thing that we do is to find the gradient. Please remember that the formula for the gradient is equal to y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So I'm going to label these points, and it doesn't matter which. Okay, if we look above, I can see that y2 is 0. So I'm going to put 0 there. Looking above, I've got to subtract y1, and y1 is 6. So I've got to subtract 6. If I look here, what is x2? x2 is 3. So I put in my 3. Sorry. And I have to subtract x1. x1 was 0. So I subtract 0. So my gradient is negative 6 over 3. 3's into 6 goes twice, and a negative divided by a positive is a negative. So my gradient is negative 2. So instead of m, I'm going to put negative 2. What's my y-intercept? My y-intercept is the value of x where this line cuts the y-axis. So here, the value of x is 6. So to write the equation of this line, I now say y is equal to, and I know the gradient of this line, it's negative 2. So it's negative 2x, and I know that my y-intercept is 6, so I write plus 6. So I have written the equation of that line. I was given 2 points, one of them being the y-intercept. The first thing I did, however, was work out the gradient. So let's look at the 2 points here and let's label them. Let's call this point, which is 0, 0, let's call that x1, y1, and this point here is x2, y2. So the first thing I'm going to do is work out my gradient. So I write my gradient formula, and then I substitute in. So let's just work out y2, there it is, it's 1, and I'm going to subtract y1, which is 0, x2, which is here, there's x2, so x2 is 2, and I'm going to subtract x1, there's my x1, which is 0. So my gradient is 1 over 2, or in other words, my gradient is a half. So y equals mx plus c, the gradient is a half. And what is the y-intercept? Well, let's look. Where does this line cross the y-axis here? Where does it cross it? It's at the point where x is 0. So c is 0. So therefore the equation of my line is y is equal to 1 half x plus 0. Now of course I don't have to write that plus 0. So the equation of the line is y equals 1 half x. So let's go through that again. We called our points x1, y1, x2, y2. We wrote down our gradient formula and substituted in the values to work out our gradient. In our equation of the form y equals mx plus c, m stands for the gradient. We worked out the gradient was half, so we put a half. And because we were given the y-intercept, we look up there and go, okay, well, what's the value of x? And the value of x is 0. Sorry, the value of y is 0. And so we put our 0 here. So that's the equation of our straight line. So